I'm Rory Green from XR Today, bringing you the latest in news and conversation from the extended reality space. Today we'll be exploring spatial audio with an industry expert, the CEO of spatial audio hardware manufacturers ConquestVR, Raghu Bathina. Cheers for joining me today.
Happy to be here.
Wonderful. So before we dive into ConquestVR, can you simply explain to our audience what is spatial audio?
Sure. So spatial audio is it comes under various terms. Sometimes it's called immersive audio, otherwise referred to as 3D audio. But basically, spatial audio has several components to it. One of them is spatialization, which is really about where the direction from where sound comes from. When you listen in stereo, you hear it from the left and right. In spatialized audio, you'll hear it not only from the left and right, you'll hear it from above and below, in front of you and behind you. So it's like a 360. That's why it's also called 3D sound. Another aspect of spatial audio is environmental sound, which includes things like reverbs, occlusion, the impact of texture on the ground, like carpet, the kind of hall you're in can give kind of an echoing effect. All of these taking into account the environment. And then there's even more advanced features of spatial audio, such as, the Doppler shift or the Doppler effect when vehicles pass by. And something known as distance attenuation, which basically very simply is based on how far an object is from you, it should sound, quieter or louder. So all these different aspects make up what is generally called immersive audio or spatial audio. And in summary, what you're trying to do is create realism and make an experience more realistic to what it's like in real life.
Brilliant. And so what are the benefits of spatial audio over more conventional sound systems, and how does it enhance an immersive environment? Obviously, you've already touched on that, but an exploration to it would be perfect.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a game changer in any kind of experience, whether it's for entertainment or for learning. The benefit is, again, creating, as in VR, we talk about a sense of presence, really transporting you to whatever environment you want to be in by, whether it's a game, whether it's another world or just another place. Because of the creation of realistic audio experience, your brain just tells you that you're actually there. It's one more element that convinces your brain you're in the target environment you want to be in. Yeah.
Fantastic. So let's get into the story behind ConquestVR a little bit more. When did you get started, and how do you fit into the XR landscape?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So ConquestVR is all about enhancing the audio experience, specifically for virtual reality. Me and the other team members, other founders, my partner Sridhar, we were excited about virtual reality because we saw the impact that it can have on people. My partner is actually a psychiatrist, and so he does study a lot about how people think and how it impacts, how their behavior is impacted by different stimuli. And VR we found to be fantastic when we saw demos and used it ourselves. But one element that we found was kind of average was the audio, at least the audio experience from the Oculus Go onwards, where we felt that this is one area that could be improved. So this has kind of been, so we've been in VR for like over 4 years, doing software and other things, but this is one thing that we picked up on about 2 years ago and said, hey, if we were to design the ultimate audio solution for VR, what could it be? And that's kind of started us on this journey to make a solution for spatial audio. And that's how ConquestVR started. Yeah.
Cool. So can you introduce us a little bit more to your product portfolio and maybe explain why headset users will need extra audio hardware?
Sure, sure. Yeah, so we set out to design these headphones, and one of the things that we found was that when you use headphones with VR headsets, it's kind of a very, for lack of better words, it's kind of a clumsy experience where you have your headset on and then you have these headphones on top. There's wires dangling down, plus the headphones tend to move a little bit, and they can get sweaty if they're over the ear. So we said, let's come up with something which is really moves with you as your VR headset moves and is very comfortable to wear and doesn't create a lot of sweat and pressure on your ears. And that's where we created the Conquest Pro headphones, which are really, designed to solve these problems and give you an amazing experience. And you asked where we fit into the environment, the XR environment.
Yes.
Was that the other question? Yes. So I think I think anybody who is in creating these experiences and want their users to have a truly immersive. In fact, we have a game studio that uses our headphones so that they can maximize their audio. But really, we're really for the VR enthusiast, whether you're in the enterprise or whether you're a gamer who really wants to get the ultimate out of their VR experience, is where our immersive audio solutions fit in, and we upgrade almost any application that you use, even if the spatial audio is not designed from scratch. You'll definitely feel a much more immersive experience.
Fantastic. So you mentioned enterprise there. Can you explain a little bit more about how enterprises can leverage spatial audio hardware to perhaps improve training experiences as well as their outcomes?
Sure, yes. Yeah, so a couple other elements that we saw that are important, I think, for enterprise is that one of the things is when you're in VR, given the current VR headsets, the way they're designed, there's a bit of sound leakage that happens where sound leaks out of the headset and people around you can hear what you're doing. And in a classroom environment, if you have more than one headset, that can be a problem. And then also, because of the current design of the VR headsets, external sound can come in and disturb your sense of presence. With our headphones, you actually have almost no sound leakage and almost no sound coming in from outside. So there's very good passive noise cancellation. And that actually is very useful in an enterprise training environment where you may not have, you're doing the training may not be in somebody's, bedroom or their office, their private office. It may be in kind of in a more open area, maybe in a cafeteria or wherever the training is happening. So these kind of sound factors are important. And also from an enterprise training perspective, what we've learned is creating that sense of presence and the effectiveness of training. It's not only about the main sounds that are in the experience, it's also about the ambient sounds that surround you when you're in a particular experience. That creates that sense of presence. And if you don't have good audio that can really pick up on all those lows and highs, you're not going to get the same level of presence. And our hardware is high-res certified, so it goes from 2 to 40 kilohertz. So it's going to really pick up everything and really bring it to life. And that's where enterprises can benefit from a more effective training experience.
Fantastic. And you touched on classrooms there. So to carry on from that, could you introduce Futureworld and explain perhaps how a spatial audio kit can become commonplace in a classroom environment?
Yes. So Futureworld is a company that we started about 4 years ago, and that company designs training programs, medical-oriented training programs, specifically for physician training. We do several experiences for cardiology training, where we teach physicians and up-and-coming fellows on various procedures related to the heart. And then we also do patient education material where we prepare patients for a particular procedure. And in both cases, in the fellows training scenario, typically there are a room of these physicians who are going to be trained, like at a conference or an event. It's very important that the sense of presence is maintained. And you can imagine these environments can get a little noisy. So that's where, proper spatial audio can really help them stay focused while they're in the training session. Same thing for the patient education. Many times this is happening in a waiting room, in a clinic, and hospitals. There's lots of ambient noise and other things going on. And so one is keeping it quiet, and then two, really creating that sense of immersion where the patient can pay attention and really understand everything about this procedure, what's going to happen before, during, after. We cover all those things in our programs. So that's what we do at Futureworld, and this is where spatial audio is really important. But of course, it would extend to the classroom. If you have kids who are trying to learn or students who are trying to learn, it's really part of the package. It's part of VR. We talk a lot about visuals, but audio is actually as important in creating a great learning experience. Yeah.
Definitely. And going off using audio well in a VR experience or immersive experience generally, perhaps could you finish off by giving us some of the best examples of spatial audio today?
Sure. Yeah. I think I'll list out a couple of games that have done a great job of spatial audio. And so you should, the listener, you should try these games in VR, but definitely put on headphones and you'll really, really appreciate them more. One is a movie game called Henry, which I think won an award for Oculus Studios, and it's a story narrated by Daniel Radcliffe. And it's just fantastic spatial audio. If you just sit in the game and you look around at the character and the events that are happening, it's really well done. Another one, which is one of our favorites, is Notes on Blindness, which is really highlights the importance of audio. It goes through, a journey of somebody who's losing sight and how they visualize through sound. And it's really well presented, and it uses sound effectively, very effectively. And another one that's a little more, popular is Resident Evil 4, which Resident Evil 4 VR, where the team actually had to go through and redo a lot of the sound to make it a real 3D audio experience. And then there's Moss Book 2, which is another fantastic game in terms of spatial audio and how they developed it. So these are a few examples that are kind of good and fun to try for people to really say, oh, this is spatial audio. But definitely you're not going to get it if you don't put on headphones. So find a good pair of headphones. Everybody has them at home. Plug it in and try it with VR, and you'll experience it the way it should be.
Brilliant. I agree on many of those, which I've tried myself. Notes on blindness alongside its movie are two very powerful pieces. So for those watching, what's the best way to get in touch and keep up to date with ConquestVR?
So our website, conquestvr.com. I would also encourage you to follow us on Twitter at ConquestVR, one word. We're also on Facebook, but I think our website and Twitter are probably really the best ways. And I just want to say in summary, in terms of why we did this, and I didn't say it earlier, and why is because it's spatial audio or an enhancement in terms of the audio experience is similar to why you buy a nice TV and then you go and buy a sound bar for that nice TV. Even though you spent maybe a couple $1,000s on a TV, you still go and buy a sound bar. It's because the TV is good at visuals, the sound bar is good at audio. In that way, we think our Conquest Pro headphones are kind of like the sound bar for the VR headsets. So,
Brilliant. I appreciate that aside. That's really good. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks a lot, Rory. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers. That's it from myself. Get more XR news by subscribing to our XR Today news channel and by following our social pages. I'm Rory Greener from XR Today. Thank you very much for watching.